This is where your family's always number one. We are Brisbane's 96.5. You've got the family show this morning, Liam and Robbie. And look, can we introduce you to our next guest? This story called our Eye, Robbie. You think you got problems. I mean, our biggest problem is the fact that we had to climb the Kangaroo Point stairs yesterday for a silly radio stunt. That was, and that's fun. That's the biggest, our hamstrings are sore this morning. Memuna Barnes has had to flee 2 countries as part of the civil unrest that was in Sierra Leone. She now lives in New Zealand. Her new book is called Survived, The Journey, and she joins us right now. She now calls New Zealand home, but she was part of the United Nations Refugee Resettlement Program. G'day, Admire, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you, Liam?
We really have no idea how the other half lived. Tell us what happened, literally, that made you have to flee your country.
There was several years of civil war, first in Liberia, that displaced us, and during that war, my mother got missing for years, and then we fled to Sierra Leone, my father's country, and the same thing happened, and me and my sister got taken. My sister and I and a couple of other cousins got taken on the same day by the Revolutionary United Front rebels in Sierra Leone.
When you say civil war, there are guns and bombs and, war in the street near where you live?
Yes, guns, bombs, murder, and,
How much do you think, for us in a country like Australia or in your case New Zealand, we take for granted sort of the freedom and peace that we, relatively peaceful life that we're allowed to live? Do you think in the West we do tend to take it for granted a little?
Yes, but then again, I wouldn't want to say you take it for granted because you don't know any different. That's life, and that what you know to be life is what you live. And so for us, even if if we were in the same position, we would do the same. So I guess it's human nature every now and then to complain about not having what you think you should have. So, I guess, you guys on this side of the world do take life a little bit for granted. But then again, it's because of the situation.
Why don't you tell us a bit about your journey? You've called your new book Survived. You're literally fleeing a country. Thankfully, the United Nations stepped in and helped out. What was that journey like? Did you take your family with you? Did you get to take any possessions? Or was it literally just grab what you had and ran?
When there's a war, you don't really have time to grab what you have. For people with babies, maybe you remember your baby. But first of all, you have to remember yourself and run off. So what's on you, what's on your skin at the time is what you run off with. And so we came with some things because we managed to get out of the war and come to Gambia, and we went to two other African countries. So we managed to gather some stuff, but throughout then we kept losing things. For now, what I have from my mom is a tape that she recorded her voice on. And a couple of years ago, she bought some African fabrics for my sister and I, and a few of our photos from our childhood photos that she managed to pick out.
That's all you've got. Amazing.
I mean, it's hard for us to imagine that kind of situation. I mean, what did it feel like when you walked off the plane or however and down the steps, and then you realised that you're on soil of another country that your hope, and I'm sure has been the outcome, that you've finally found a place of peace and refuge. How did you feel at that moment?
Mixed feelings. I should have really been very, very extremely happy, but I wasn't, because at the time I still didn't know where my mother was. And so I was still worried. I thought I'm safe, but the most important person in my life isn't, and I don't even know where she is. I don't even know if she's alive. So for me, it was just, I saw it as another hassle. But then I grew to accept and see New Zealand as home and love New Zealand. Of course, I had found my mom first, and then I opened my eyes to the opportunities that had been given to me.
Admire, it's an amazing story. We're so glad that you are alive and well and calling New Zealand home. She's in Brisbane this week doing a tour. You'll find her at libraries around town. The book's called Survived, The Journey, and it really does put it in perspective. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and we wish you just a happy and safe future for you and your family now are nestled in New Zealand. Well done.
Thank you very much, Liam.
Yeah, take care. Where family's always number one here at 96.5.